my Quilty friends, in today's video I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful patriotic stars and stripes table runner. It's perfect for celebrations coming up like 4th of July. In this video I'm going to show you exactly how to make it with step-by-step instructions. To make this patriotic stars and stripes table runner, you can find the fabric requirements over on my website and I'll put a link down in the description. Plus you'll also find these cutting instructions there too. So we're going to make one block at a time and I'm going to go quite quickly. I do have another video where I go step by step and I'll put a link down below if you'd like to watch that and see how to make this block in a little bit of detail. But to start off with, we're going to take 4 of our 12 pieces that measure 4 by 4 inches. Then we're just going to turn them so the wrong side is facing us and draw a diagonal line from corner to corner on all 4 pieces. Now I have my 7.5 inch by 7.5 inch piece for my background. I'm going to take one of the pieces I just drew the line on and place it right sides together, one in the top left hand corner, making sure those edges are lined up nicely, and one in the bottom right hand corner, again making sure those edges are lined up nicely. And we want that line to create one continuous line. When I'm happy, I'll just pop some pins in, keeping it in place. So now I'm going to sew down both sides of my line with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm stitching at stitch length 2 and I'm using wonderful confetti thread. I'm going to start on the very edge and then sew right down to the very bottom. Just being careful here where it overlaps, making sure that it's sitting nicely when I sew. Coming off and just turning it around and doing exactly the same on the other side. Now we're going to cut along our drawn line. So taking my ruler, lining it up on the line that we drew, and then just cutting our piece in half, creating 2 pieces. Now we'll press. So now setting our stitches, which sets our stitches into our fabric, making them stronger and helping our blocks lay flatter. Then I'm going to press my fabric towards the white piece or the stars. I'm just going to finger press so it's sitting nicely. We don't want any folds in there. And then pressing. And I'll repeat that for our second piece. Now with each of our pieces I'm going to place it so my blue fabric or my background fabric is coming down into a point and creating a heart shape. Then I'm going to take one of the pieces that I drew my line on and place it down here in the bottom corner, lining up the edges so that the line is coming down to that point. When I'm happy, I'll pop some pins in to keep it in place. And then we're just going to sew along both sides of the line just like we did previously. So once again taking our ruler, lining it up on that drawn line and cutting our piece in half. Now we'll press again. For both pieces we'll set the stitches and then press again towards our white fabric or our star fabric, finger pressing and press. And we'll do this for the other piece, and then in total we'll have 4 pieces that look just like this. Now for all 4 pieces we need to square them up so that they measure 3.5 inches by 6.5 inches, and I've got a ruler here that does just that. And if you'd like to see how to do this with a regular ruler that isn't the perfect size, you can check out my other video. I'll put a link down below. But for all 4 pieces, please square them up to the 3.5 by 6.5 inch size. So now we're just going to place our pieces to create our block, matching our diagram in the corner there. And then do just check that it is matching the image, because it's really easy to accidentally get some around the wrong way and sew them all together and you'll end up in a right royal pickle like I do sometimes. Much easier to check now than when they're sewn together. Now all I'm going to do is sew each of these rows together, and then once they're sewn together I'll sew the rows together. If you're enjoying this video, please do subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss out on another video. It really helps me out and I appreciate it so much. I've finished sewing all 3 rows. Now I'm just going to set my stitches again. And then I'm going to press the seams so that they're towards the full piece rather than the pieced piece for each of the rows. So for this row, I'll be pressing the seams out towards my blue piece or my background. And then for this piece, I'm going to set my seams in towards the center here, the piece that's a whole piece and not pieced. And I'll repeat that for the final row, and then I'll sew these rows together. So now we're just going to set our stitches. And then I'm going to press my seams away from these pieces here, which are our flying geese. I forgot to say that earlier, so I'm just going to push the seams down this way and press, making sure it's all sitting nicely. Okay, I'll just give it a once over. Now what I need you to do is trim these down to 12.5 inches by 12.5 inches squared and repeat that for 2 more blocks, so we've got 3 stars for our table runner. Now we're going to make our stripe blocks, and I'm using the pieces that measure 2 inches and a quarter by 13 inches, and I'm going to start off with 4 red and 3 white, and then I'm going to sew them together in alternating order. So I'll start with a red, take a white, then I'm going to place them right sides together and sew along this seam. I'm going to make sure all my edges are lined up nicely and pin. And then I will press. I think it's easier to press as you go. Open it up and then sew a red one on. So I'm just alternating the strips. So all the settings are the same. So now this is optional, but I'm going to set the stitches and press towards the red between every piece that I sew on, because I just find it a little bit easier and less fiddly. But by all means, you can sew all your pieces together and then press, whatever you find easier. Now all I'm going to do is take my next red piece and sew it on. Now I'll just press and then add on the next piece and so on until I've sewn all the pieces together. So with our red and white stripes, repeat what we just did to make 2 blocks, and then we square them up to the same size as our stars at 12.5 inches by 12.5 inches. So now we've got 2 sets of red and white stripes and 3 of our blue and white stars. Now all we need to do is sew them together. So we're going to start with a blue star, then the red and white stripes, blue star, red and white stripes, blue star. So all I'll do is place these 2 pieces right sides together, sew, and then press. I will press the seams open, and then I'll repeat that until I've sewn all my pieces together. So once we've finished sewing those 5 blocks together, we've finished the table runner top. Then all you need to do is baste it, quilt it, and bind it with your preferred method. And I can put links down below with videos showing you exactly how to do that. And if you're looking for more patriotic ideas to sew, I'll put a link up above for my American flags quilt. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video.